Hi there everybody, on today's video I have this e91. This is a 2008 and it's a 318i and I'm gonna be changing the coils and the spark plugs because we have a misfire, and it is very common on these that the coil packs tend to fail. So since we're going to change those, I'm going to take the advantage of changing the spark plugs too, as the car is already done. I think it's around 60,000 miles. So to get access to the coils, we need to remove this cover here, and to remove that cover we're just going to remove a few things like the pollen filter and stuff, just to get some room. So I have an 8mm here, and I'm gonna remove all the little bolts that hold the pollen filter in place. Now I have a pollen filter out. I'm going to remove this plate here. For that, first I'm going to pull this here, this one. So they just pull, and we have this cover here. It's the same on the other side. They just have two little clips holding it, and this little rubber here. This you can take that out, put it to one side, and then we need to take this connector here. So that's just a little connector. Press on this bit here and pull it out. We have an 8mm bolt holding this here. Just remove that. And it will be same procedure here. Take this little switch out, go to one side, and we have an 8mm bolt just here. And then this cover can lift up, but just be careful of the just be careful not to rip this little rubber here. Just take it to one side, put it under this, and it will be the same on the other side. We can then remove this plate. We have just one little attachment here. just take that off, and then you're able to get this whole plate out. Now we have much better access to this cover. We have 2 torques here. We'll remove those torques screws. And those are T30, by the way. Now I'm going to undo this bolt here to lift this bar up. And that's it's a star style socket on the size 14. I'm just gonna move that bar slightly to the right there, because I have another Torx just sitting here. We can remove that cover and we'll put the oil filler cap back on to avoid anything going in there. Okay, now we have access to the coil packs and spark plugs. So we have the coil packs just here. We'll just lift that up and take that little plug out. And we'll do the same with this one here. Okay, this normally just lift up. and remove the connection there. And we have 4 of them that we need to do, so there's another 2 just sitting in the back here. It's a bit hard to see from this angle. Okay, so we have one there and the other one just next to the bar here. So I just remove that and take the connection out, and we'll do the same for this one. Now we need to pull these coil packs out. Now sometimes you can put your finger in there and just pull the coil pack. So I'm gonna try and focus on one of them. So you can put your finger on the cover of the on top of the and pull it, but they can sometimes be a little stuck and be a bit hard. So sometimes I put a screwdriver in there if I can't pull them out. And I just hold it at the end and lever a little bit. And that helps pull it out without, you know, hurting yourself. But you need to just be careful, do it gently. And I'm gonna do the same sort of procedure for all of them. Just be careful what you lever against as well. Also, if you're not actually changing these and you're just changing the spark plugs, keep them in the order that they came out. That's always just advisable. Now I know one of these has been replaced already, so I'm gonna replace 3 of them, but one of them is this. Now I'm just gonna carry on removing the other ones. Okay, now we're gonna remove the spark plugs that are sitting inside there. So that's the hole in which the spark plug is sitting in. Okay, so to remove these plugs, they look like this, and we need this type of socket. This is for spark plugs. It's a number 14, and it's got a little rubber inside that holds onto the plug when you take it up. So just make sure the tool sits nicely, and then you can undo the plug. That's the plug there. And now I'm just gonna follow the same procedure for all the other three. And now we have the last one in here. So I have my new spark plugs here. These are NGK. NGK type R, ZKBR7A HTU. Those are the ones that are gonna go in here. Now I usually get a pair of long nose pliers, and I put the plug in there without dropping it, just letting it sit. Now I remove the little rubber that sits inside the tool to tighten them up, because normally what happens is this gets a little bit too tight, and then when you remove the extension, this stays down there. So I remove this, and use it without it for purpose of tightening the plugs. And also I tighten the plugs by hand up until the point where they just need a bit of tightening with the tool, with the actual ratchet. And that way you make sure that you can make sure that the plugs are going where they're supposed to go, and you're not damaging the thread or anything like that. So always do them by hand first. So not much force is applied at all. I'm using a small ratchet there, as you can see, just to make sure they're tight, not loose. Now we can get our new coils. So the coils I'm using are Bosch, and that is the part number there, 0221504471. But obviously you just need to make sure you're using the right type for your vehicle. Now all you need to do is get the coils in there. Okay, so now the coils are sitting on the spark plugs. So we have our coil there. All we need to do is push it. Now you might find that you haven't been able to push it all the way, but you can connect your cable here and push that cable all the way in. So make sure it's nicely attached, because if it's not quite there, if it's not sitting properly inside of here, you could have a misfire. So close that until it's clipped on, and then you can put your hand on top of that and push it down so it sits nicely on the spark plug. So you might not be able to get your hand the same way on all of them, but okay, so in that case I use my two thumbs to push it down. Also note that these coils, they don't just they don't sit on any position. We'll try to see that here. So we have this little guide here. We have that guide there, and this part of the coil, this part will be, the pointy part will be sitting next to that, and there will be two of them, two little guides, so the other one is just there, and that's how the coil sits in. And obviously if you put it slightly wrong, you won't be able to push it down all the way in. Okay, so just make sure they're all sitting nicely within their guides and all the little covers are properly shut and their cables plugged in. Once you have all that sorted, you can start refitting all the parts. Now before refitting absolutely everything back, I'm gonna start the car, make sure it's running as it should. Otherwise I'll have to open that cover again and double check if everything is okay. So that sounds nice and smooth. So I'm going to start refitting everything back now. So refitting is basically the opposite of removal. So I may put this on fast forward and just get on with it. And that's it. So I hope this video helps, and thanks for watching.